One performed as a clown at children's hospitals. The other was the president of his Lutheran church. One ran a successful construction business. The other installed home security alarms for a living. Both were respected, employed, married, and well-liked in their suburban neighborhoods. Both murdered for years without ever being suspected. Tonight, John Wayne Gacy and Dennis Rader, known to the world as BTK. The two killers who hid behind the most ordinary American lives imaginable. One question: who was truly more dangerous? Welcome back to Evil vs. Evil, Monsters of History. This is episode 10. Born in Chicago, Illinois in 1942, John Wayne Gacy Jr. was the second of three children in a working-class household in the city's northwest side. His father was an alcoholic machinist who beat his wife and his children with belts, fists, and pieces of furniture. He told his son repeatedly that he was a sissy, that he was worthless, that he would never amount to anything. John spent his entire life trying to prove him wrong. He was a strange, soft, bright child who suffered a head injury at the age of 11 that caused him blackouts for years. He was overweight and bullied. He worked hard in school. He made friends easily, especially with adults, who found him polite and unusually mature. He graduated from business college. He took a job as a shoe salesman. He married. He worked his way up to manager of a Kentucky Fried Chicken in Iowa, then bought into 3 franchises of his own. He volunteered at JC's, the Young Men's Civic Organization, and was named Outstanding Member of the Year. He was, by every external measure, a model American. In 1968, the model started to crack. Gacy was arrested in Iowa for sexually assaulting a teenage boy who worked at one of his restaurants. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. His wife divorced him. He served 18 months, was paroled, and moved back to Chicago. He started over completely. He bought a modest ranch house at 8213 West Summerdale Avenue in the suburb of Norwood Park Township. He started a small construction company, PDM Contractors, which grew quickly. He married a second time. He became active in the local Democratic Party, where he was photographed shaking hands with First Lady Rosalind Carter. He developed a costumed character he called Pogo the Clown and performed at children's birthday parties, charity hospital visits, and neighborhood block parties. And he began killing. Between 1972 and 1978, John Wayne Gacy murdered at least 33 young men and teenage boys. He picked them up at bus stops in his own employment and at gay bars. He brought them to his house. He used a handcuff trick, asking the victim to put on the cuffs to demonstrate that he could escape from them, then revealing that the cuffs were real and that he, Gacy, held the key. He tortured them, raped them, and strangled them with a length of rope tightened with a stick, a method he called the rope trick. He buried 26 of them in the crawl space directly beneath the floor of his own house, working around the bodies while his second wife lived upstairs, complaining about a strange smell. When the crawl space filled, he started dumping bodies into the Des Plaines River. He hired young men from the same demographic he killed to dig the burial trenches in his own crawl space, lying to them that he was repairing plumbing. Some of those young men later became his victims, buried in the trenches they had dug. He was finally caught on December 21, 1978, when a 15-year-old boy named Robert Piest disappeared after telling his mother he was going to talk to a contractor about a summer job. Police traced Piest to Gacy. A search of the crawl space revealed body after body after body. He was convicted and sentenced to death. He spent 14 years on Illinois death row, painting clown portraits that he sold for hundreds of dollars to true crime collectors. On May 10, 1994, he was executed by lethal injection. His reported last words were, "Kiss my ass." That was John Wayne Gacy, the killer who hid inside the costume of an American success story. Born in Pittsburgh, Kansas in 1945, Dennis Lynn Rader was the eldest of 4 sons in a Lutheran middle-class household. His father was a Marine Corps veteran. His mother was a bookkeeper. He grew up in a small town, joined the Cub Scouts, attended church every Sunday, and excelled at almost nothing in particular. He was unremarkable by design. There was, however, something deeply wrong inside him. As a child, he became fixated on tying up dolls. As a teenager, he tortured small animals. As a young man, he stole women's underwear from clotheslines and wore them, taking photographs of himself in self-bondage poses that he hid in a secret stash. He served in the United States Air Force, was honorably discharged, and married a woman named Paula Dietz in 1971. They had 2 children. He was, by every visible measure, the most normal man on his block. He took a job at a company called ADT, installing residential security systems. He was, in other words, the man Wichita residents trusted to come into their homes and make them safe. In January of 1974, Dennis Rader broke into the home of the Otero family in Wichita. He killed the father, the mother, and 2 of their children, including 9-year-old Joseph Otero Jr., whom he hanged in the basement, and 11-year-old Josephine Otero, whom he hanged in the basement next to her brother. He left a deliberately staged crime scene. He took small souvenirs, and then he went home to his wife and watched television. Over the next 17 years, Rader would murder 6 more people, mostly women, all in or near Wichita. His method was unhurried and patient. He kept what he called hit kits in his car, neatly organized canvas bags containing zip ties, gloves, rope, and plastic bags. He stalked his victims for months. He learned their schedules. He let himself into their homes during the day when they were at work and waited in their closets for them to come home. He gave himself a name. He wrote letters to the police and the newspapers. He called himself BTK, which stood for Bind, Torture, Kill. He included taunts, poems, and detailed descriptions of his crimes. He demanded the same coverage the Zodiac Killer had received. Then, after his last murder in 1991, he stopped. For 13 years, the BTK case went cold. Rader continued his ordinary life. He became compliance officer for the city of Park City, Kansas, where he enforced lawn mowing regulations and dog leash laws. He was elected president of his Lutheran church. He led a Cub Scout troop. He celebrated his 30th wedding anniversary. In 2004, a new book was published about the BTK case. Rader, furious that the world had forgotten him, started writing again. He sent letters and packages to the police, asking, in one of them, whether floppy disks could be traced. The police lied and said no. Rader sent a floppy disk. The metadata on the disk pointed directly to the church computer he had used and identified the author as Dennis. The police looked up the president of the local Lutheran church. They had their man. He was arrested on February 25th, 2005. He confessed in detail to every murder, smiling and treating the proceedings like a lecture. His own daughter, Carrie, had no idea who her father had been. She would later say that the moment he was arrested was the moment her entire life rewrote itself in reverse. He was sentenced to 10 consecutive life sentences. He sits today in El Dorado Correctional Facility in Kansas, where he will die. That was BTK, the killer who lived inside the costume of an American neighbor. Now, let us put these 2 side by side. Category 1, concealment. Both men hid in plain sight, but in different ways. Gacy hid behind active community celebrity. He was photographed with the First Lady. He performed in costume in front of crowds. He had himself sworn in as a community ambassador. Rader hid behind perfect invisibility. He was the man you never noticed. At the church potluck, he had served as president of his church council. He led his son's Cub Scout troop. He measured lawn heights for the city government. Both methods worked. Gacy's method got him into more rooms. Rader's method kept him hidden longer. The edge in pure invisibility is Rader. Category 2, body count. Gacy killed at least 33. Rader killed 10. The edge is Gacy. Category 3, method and brutality. Gacy raped, tortured, and strangled his victims, then stored them under his own floor. Rader stalked his victims for months in advance, broke into their homes, often killed entire families, and took intimate souvenirs. Both were horrifying. Gacy's volume was higher. Rader's premeditation was deeper. Call this category a tie. Category 4, evading detection. Gacy killed for 6 years before being caught. Rader killed across 30 years and was only caught when he chose to communicate again. The edge, decisively, is Rader. He could have died a free man. Category 5, cultural staying power. Gacy gave America its first true clown horror archetype. He is the reason an entire generation is afraid of clowns. Rader gave us the perfect template for the suburban serial killer, the husband next door, the church-going father. Both are immortal. Call this category a tie. So the category split 2-2 with 2 ties. By the closest margin, both men were equally calibrated for evil. But categories do not capture everything. Here is the wild card. What if they had switched lives? Imagine Dennis Rader as a contractor in Chicago in the 1970s. He would have killed more victims, more methodically, and possibly never have been caught. Imagine John Wayne Gacy as a security technician and church president in Wichita. He would have been caught within a year. Gacy needed an audience. He needed to be loud, photographed, and admired. Rader needed silence. Each man's evil was wired to a different volume. The verdict: by a hair, the more dangerous killer was Dennis Rader. Not because he killed more, but because he could have killed forever. He had no internal need for recognition until he was already free and clear. Gacy was caught because he could not stop. Rader stopped on his own and was only caught because he restarted himself. But here is the part that should disturb you. Gacy was a clown. We know what a clown means now. Rader was a father, a husband, a church president, a Boy Scout leader, and the man who installed your home security system. We do not have a word yet for what he was. We just know he lived next door. Gacy was the costume. Rader was the disguise that never came off. The winner is Rader. The one your kids still have nightmares about is Gacy. Next episode: Robespierre versus Lenin, the two architects of revolutionary terror. One built a guillotine, the other built a state. Both killed in the name of freedom.